Welcome to Little Bracket of Horrors, the pod that brings the fight to fright.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Derek.
I'm Shelly.
And today we have a special guest with us.
I'm a special.
You are the most special. But we have Steve with us.
Steve, yes.
But Steve was a fan submission this week, and he opted to record in person with us. I feel very, very
I don't know
lucky.
if I gave him a choice.
Oh, yeah?
I was like, we're recording.
Get over
Be
here.
here at this time.
Yeah, she said, no, here we go.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But Steve gave us The Haunting, 1963 this week.
Yep.
But obviously, anyone who's listened to the show before, anytime we have a new guest on, first time but long time listener.
Right. Yep.
But anytime we have a new guest on, we like to ask them a series of questions just so you guys can, get your finger on the pulse that is Steve.
Yep.
And if you're ready, we'll kick off into it.
Yeah, let's dive in, man.
Heck yeah. All right, so Steve, what was the first horror movie you remember watching?
Let's see, the first one I remember watching, and I had to think about it a lot because I've seen tons. The first one was The Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price. So that was in the early 70s when I saw it, and at the time I was delivering newspapers for the Evening Star in Washington, D.C. I had about 125 customers. So Sunday mornings, the paper guy would deliver early the inserts, but then about 2 in the morning, he'd drop off the actual newspaper. And I had watched that movie staying up so I wouldn't go to sleep and forget to get up and watch The Last Man on Earth.
Yeah.
And I had to have my mom come with me to help deliver newspapers that morning. Yeah. First time ever that she had to do that. And, yeah. Now I watch it and I'm like, it's a good movie. It's a classic, but it's not a scary thing anymore, so...
I like that classic setup with the newspaper boy route and saving up your money and all that stuff. I love that story.
Excellent.
0 notes, Steve. 0 notes. But all right. So, what's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you?
Well, I had to think about this one too, and my wife reminded me that it was what happened last April on our wonderful trip, and we were in the midst of a 3-week trip. And we were on our way to Waco, Texas, traveling south on I-35.
Okay.
And we hit a horrendous thunderstorm, massive. And that area is known for tornadoes and everything else. And we got hit with a microburst of some sort, and it knocked the trailer and the truck into the second lane.
Ooh.
We were traveling the first lane.
Yeah.
And... it started jackknifing. It was leaning over, and Sandy was driving. And all I can remember is going, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
And she finally got control of it, and we pulled off the road. No damage, no issues and stuff. And then she looked at me, and she goes, were you saying no to me? And I'm like, no. I was saying no in general. I don't want this to happen.
Oh, yeah. That is terrifying, especially with a hitch and a trailer connected to everything.
Yep.
I mean, that's a disaster. So luckily, everyone came out okay, and the trailer and the truck.
We sat there for 5 minutes shaking, and it was pretty intense. The most intense thing we've done with the trailer on the back end of that truck. So
was that how many trips have you made out with the trailer prior to that?
With this trailer, we've done a few, but nothing. That 3-week time was a first time. That distance we were traveling.
Yeah.
I think we put close to 4,000 miles on
that's a trip.
On the trailer.
Yeah.
So out and back to Grand Canyon and all the way back 3 weeks.
Yeah.
New Orleans, Junction, Texas for the solar eclipse. Albuquerque, things of that nature. So,
and that sucks too. That's on the way out. Yeah. So that's kicking your trip off with some dicey.
The weather was on the way back.
Okay.
So we were heading south from Texas up north Texas into Waco, and then we were heading east after that. So.
I gotcha.
Yep.
Good. Well, I'm glad you guys are okay.
Yeah.
I taught my mom everything she knows.
Oh, there you are.
Driving wise.
A little
Usually
driving,
it's the other way around, but
little-
good.
No.
a little driving trivia for you.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Shelley's sister was not a great driver between 16 and 18. And when it was Shelley's time to learn to drive, I had a pickup truck. Shelley learned to drive in the pickup truck.
Okay.
Sherry's driven
Big pickup truck, not
big,
like a.
yeah, F-150. So Sherry has only driven one of my trucks one time, and that's it.
Okay.
We love her though.
Yeah,
We love her though.
sedan. She's
Yeah.
after her fourth accident, she finally stopped and
She wised up.
calmed
She's-
down. Yeah, calmed
That's
down.
good.
I have to say, I'm actually shocked that's your scariest thing. I thought
Ooh.
you might pick the leg through the fish tank.
Okay.
Oh,
you got
that
another
was-
story?
That a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm 7 years old, living in a neighborhood out suburbs of D.C., and my friend, we were going to play Superman. So we had our sister's baby blankets around our necks as capes, right, tied up. So I went to his house, and his mother likes to lock the gate to the backyard. She's okay with us playing back there.
Yeah.
She just locks the gate. So the kid said, just step up here, put your leg over the fence, step on the chair. We're in the backyard. I'm like, cool. That sounds like fun. So we went in there, and we're playing Superman and running around. I hear the ice cream man. So I got to run home and get some money.
Yeah.
It's a good humor guy. So it's the bells, right?
Yes.
So I hit that chair, slung my right leg over on top of that aquarium, lifted all my weight onto it, and went through the glass and put a sizable piece of glass about 2.5 inches long into my ankle.
Oh.
There was a guy painting the house, comes down that ladder. I've never seen anybody come down a ladder that fast
Oh,
before.
no.
Came over to me, was holding my leg to the ground because he didn't want me moving it. Eventually, they found out that the glass was still in my leg. He pulled it out. They took my cape and used it as
Superman
a
cape, yeah.
used it as a compression rag to put
Yeah.
pressure on the wound. Someone suggested ice would be a good idea. Well, we're back in the days of milkmen
Okay.
showing up. So there was a box outside my buddy's house that had a small block of ice. So someone ran and got that and stuck that on my ankle. And as far as ambulances that time, they stick you in the back, drive you to the hospital, no care, no nothing.
Oh,
It's just
yeah.
a guy make sure the gurney doesn't go banging
Oh, that's
around inside the ambulance. So ended up with 14 total stitches because they had to go tie off a vein and artery in the leg.
Oh, Lord.
Had a cast on for 3 weeks.
Holy cow.
Still has a scar.
Yeah, I
Still
can
has a
imagine.
scar. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Still dealing with ramifications.
60 years
60
later.
years later, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
What a
So-
what a crazy experience for a 7-year-old. To
Oh,
get
yeah.
That. Oh my gosh.
Oh, as
that's
far
nuts.
as school, then I
Yeah.
started second grade with that cast on, and the girls
Okay,
were like,
there you
"Oh,
go."
look, he's got a cast on." But I'm like, I'm 7 years old. I want to go outside and play.
Yeah. This guy's got personality. Yeah.
We also had one of those squared off monkey bar sets at the schoolyard there.
Yes.
Remember the one that says, "We survived these."
Yeah. Playgrounds used to be death traps.
Yep.
And
They
now-
still are.
Yeah.
They still are.
They can. Yeah.
It can be. Not as much.
Yes.
I mean, they're foam padded a lot of times,
You
and
can still find a way.
yeah, you'll still find a way. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right, so let's move on into what would you rather be bitten by? Zombie, vampire, or werewolf?
So I thought about this one a little bit.
Yes.
Like
And,
all the previous
like
questions.
like all the
Yes,
previous favorites. So I would go with vampires. One, because they dress in tail tuxedos all the time.
Looking
no, I'm
sharp.
just kidding.
Oh, okay.
Their kills are not as messy as a werewolf. And zombies,
I think we've had one zombie.
Yeah, we had one zombie
think
via
you're right.
Spotify
Yeah.
message.
yeah,
No one on the show has ever said zombie, so yeah.
yeah, no, vampire, because they're. I think of George Hamilton and Love at First Bite as the epitome of a good vampire.
Was that Jim Carrey movie?
No, this one's even.
I'm
older
thinking of
than
Once
that.
Bitten.
George Hamilton. Once
Okay.
There's a lot of
Right.
Once
vampire
Bitten with
movies.
Jim Carrey. Yeah.
Love at First Bite was Susan St. James and George Hamilton, and
Okay.
it's a farce. Artie Johnson played Renfield.
I have to start to wonder, everyone who wants to be a vampire or be bitten by one, it's because they dress nice.
They dress nice, and then they also another reason is they look sexy.
Yeah.
And that's
I'm
the
starting
sexual
to
appeal of
question
it.
our
Yeah.
want to be bitten by a vampire
Well,
population.
Mind you, I do not want to be the Twilight glittering vampires. No.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're pretty cool though.
You be-
They can be in dusk.
Yes, that's right.
They have special dusk powers. I don't know. I've never read a book or seen a movie.
No.
So.
I mean, we picked werewolf because of the control aspect of it. It was like,
I
we
like
think it's
that it's
manageable.
once a month.
Yeah.
Eat a chicken.
Yeah.
Chicken. Yeah.
There was a movie that did that. The guy would eat a chicken instead of going out. And
Yeah. Lock you up during that time. It's manageable.
It is manageable.
Cool.
So, are you ready for the next one, Steve?
Yes,
I
I
don't want
am.
to cut you off if you have
Nope,
more.
nope,
All right,
no,
cool.
we got it.
So, who do you think wins in a fight? Freddy, Michael Myers, or Jason?
Well, I think Shelley knows what my answer is going to be. It's Michael Myers. And
Okay.
We haven't had very many people pick
No.
Michael out of the three.
Yes.
It's mostly Freddy or Jason.
It is.
the reason why I say that is I'm a huge John Carpenter fan.
Mm-hmm.
I love all his movies, except he wasn't involved in the 4, 5, 6 Resurrection, H2O, but
Classics.
classic.
the
yeah.
classics.
Well,
Yeah, for us.
But no, the first two, the Season of the Witch, he was involved
Yes.
with, and I love that movie. That was a great switch up for that franchise.
Agreed. Yeah.
I watched all three of the new ones when they came out. I did watch the Rob Zombie ones. I mean, they were
The first
good.
remake was good. The second one,
Agree.
he
Yes.
was like a sad puppy.
Yeah.
It was bad.
The weird white horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pieces that I liked though was it gave you more insight to Michael Myers
Yes.
at the beginning.
For the original
I mean,
Rob
when,
Zombie.
when Trejo got
He got his.
he got his.
Yeah.
All those guys. So I mean, I got to meet the actress that played the nurse that got the fork to the neck. She was cool.
Yeah.
And was it Derek Mears that played that part?
Yes.
Met him. Yeah, very cool guy. I got him to sign a Michael Myers pop for me. So
Oh, good. Good.
cool. Yeah, really cool stuff. I
Absolutely,
really
yeah.
love Michael Myers stuff.
So he's winning in a fight.
So he's winning because you like John Carpenter?
Yes.
Dan.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Just kidding.
the thing about Michael Myers, he tends to stay the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's always the same guy type of thing. It's always Michael Myers. You know, even though in the scripts for the first couple of movies, they never referred to Michael Myers. They always called him the Shape. So it's always Michael Myers. It's always the same person.
Yeah.
He has an identity where Jason, it looks like he's rotting more and more and more as he goes
Yeah.
along. It's like he just
Different
gets
battles.
worse and
Yeah.
worse and worse. Yeah. So, but no, I love. I'm a big fan of because of the first one.
Yeah.
Literally because of John Carpenter's 77 movie, 78, something like that. That's the one that led to all these other slasher films. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
good stuff.
it was huge in the slasher genre. So yeah, the jump off point we'll give it to. So Michael Myers finally gets a mark. So there you go, Michael. Congratulations.
Yay.
One on the one
Yeah.
board. One on the board.
All right. So final question: what is your favorite horror film?
My favorite one is the one we're talking about tonight.
Ooh. Okay. Great.
I'll watch it again and again and again. And since it came up on the wheel, I have watched it 6 times.
And to prepare for this.
To prepare for this,
Nice.
I watched it even this afternoon. Sandy was taking a nap. I watched The Haunting. And read through notes. I found this one website that has a huge amount of information about it and dove really deep into it. And it was just interesting to read about things that I've enjoyed watching all these years. And
Yeah.
even if I scrutinize it, it still has a lot of good qualities in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
As fans, we are able to be objective and see the shortcomings of things we love. So,
Oh, yeah.
you know, that's just part, that's what comes along with being fans is that, you do this digging, but you see the faults, but regardless of all that, you still see, what shines so bright about it.
Right.
So
Right.
I love that. I love that you gave us your favorite horror films, so we're going to dig into it.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Before we jump into the movie, do you want to play a little catch-up? Anything scary happen or watch anything scary? Shelly?
I don't think I've watched anything scary.
Yeah.
I'm still in my rom-com.
That's cool, though. Yeah.
So that's happening. I did an escape room that was a little scary in St.
Nice.
Pete Beach called Abandon All Hope. It was very much based on like a Conjuring type film, but like the third Conjuring,
Yeah.
where it's the family and the little girl is possessed.
Yes.
This was like a little girl kind of thing. It was scary. I'm not going to say too much because if you ever want to go do it,
I'm
I'm
down.
not going to give
Yeah,
the
oh,
clues
yeah.
away. But just to tell you, our I guess game master, or whoever they call escape room runners,
Yeah, whoever let you in and...
the leader of the game, I don't
Yeah.
know. But he gave his little spiel, and he's like, I do also have to warn you, there is a Ouija board in this room. And I was like, we kind of laughed because,
Yeah.
we don't care.
Okay.
I mean, we don't care.
Yeah.
okay, right.
We're not
Yeah, right,
using
yeah,
it.
right. But I kind of like, I looked at it, I was like, I would hope that anyone who would read the write up on what this room is about, if they worry about a Ouija board, they're probably not coming just based on the write up alone.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, oh, we've had people freak out, so we have to disclaimer it.
No.
And then he said, follow our hearts, and he left the room.
Oh.
And then they had like a soundtrack going, and
Okay.
I
Oh,
spent
wow.
a solid 5 minutes being like, how's this song related?
Yeah.
Because there was records on the wall, and I'm like, what song is this?
Yeah.
Okay.
What
Oh,
song?
yeah. You do with
What
these.
song is this? And I'm looking at records, and I'm like, it's none of these songs. The soundtrack had nothing to do with Escape Room. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing. So don't, if you
It
ever
was
go
a
to
red herring.
Abandon
How
All
dare.
Hope at the St. Pete Beach Escape Room, the soundtrack has no
And what
info.
what a cool idea to use like a soundtrack to be
What
a
if you
clue. Yeah.
did?
Yeah.
What if you did?
Yeah.
Because that's what I did for 5 minutes.
I know.
But then halfway through the game, all of a sudden, over the sound, like the music coming into the room, suddenly it goes tiptoe through the wind. I was like, ah!
Perfect.
Excellent.
Anyways,
Yeah.
headphones alert. Oh, sorry.
So,
How about you, Derek? Anything scary happen to you, or watch
No.
anything?
Yeah, so I finally am getting my life back. For the last month, I've just been consumed with soccer. The Euros have been
Oh,
going on
yeah,
along with
yeah,
the
yeah.
Copa America.
oh, yeah.
So we finally finished up on Sunday. Congratulations to Spain. Congratulations to Argentina. But now I can get back to normal life. But
There you go.
I did go last weekend. I went to see Maxine
Yeah.
in the theaters. I
I
was
haven't seen any of the X or Pearl, or I haven't seen any. Of
I'll
them.
be very vague with the things I say. I won't spoil anything. But I was a big fan of Pearl and X. In my mind, I think I was hyping up Maxine maybe a bit too much.
It was like a prequel, right?
It was a continuation of X.
Oh, okay.
So
So it was
Max-
like the third.
Yes,
Because
it's-
it came out X, Pearl, Maxine, but Pearl comes before X, right?
exactly
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
So it was a continuation, but I think the final third was a bit of a miss for me. I won't go into detail, but I liked parts of it. It wasn't what I was hoping it was going to be, and I
Uh-oh.
was slightly let down. But I was
Oh.
like,
We also
Darn it.
saw Insight too.
oh, we did. Inside.
Not scary, but
yes.
it was good.
Emotional. Very
Nostalgia.
emotional. Yeah. Darn
Love
anxiety.
nostalgia.
But yeah. And go
I have
ahead,
one
Steve. What have you been watching besides The Haunting?
Besides The Haunting for the past 2 weeks, I have a checklist. I have two other checklists that I've been going off. One's In Search of Darkness. And in the second page, first item was called The Inferno. And I loved it. It was very artistic, the whole 9 yards. And then I read about it.
Is it
It
Italian?
looked-
Yes. Argento, right?
yes.
Yeah.
And it's the
Is it the Green Inferno?
No, Green
it's-
Inferno is something else.
That's a
Just
Holocaust.
Inferno.
That's a cannibal movie.
Yeah.
I was thinking the
This
cannibal
is-
one.
This is the second of the trilogy.
Yes.
And it's based on the three mothers, which when I read about it, Suspiria is
Suspiria's in it. Yeah.
too. Suspiria. So when I was watching it, all of a sudden it started coming to me. This is very Suspiria-like.
Uh-huh.
And but it was artfully done. It was
Wait, so
beautifully
they continue
done.
the story? Because I hated the ending of Suspiria.
I think it's the universe,
Okay.
because I think what they're doing is breaking each mother down. It's the three, I think the sorrow, depression, Suspirium, that they have a, you have to look it all up. I can't remember off the top of my head right
deep.
now. But it is. It
Deep.
was very deep, but I thought it was very well done. It was kind of like foggy a little bit through the filming, and I think they did that on purpose. Yeah. So it was really good. I mean, it was really good.
Yeah.
And then there's in 2007, I think they did the third movie.
The
called
final one, yeah.
The Mother of Tears. So
okay.
that one I haven't seen yet, but that's past my search of darkness. But I also have the top 100 50s sci-fi movies.
Oh, cool.
Cheesy.
Yeah.
You know, Destination Moon, which just, you know, the rockets are just totally.
Yeah.
What
It's
the,
on
what
a
were they
string. You
thinking?
can see it dangling in the
you
air.
see screens. The monsters are trees that are walking around. Yeah, it's.
Those are so much fun, though.
Yeah, they are. So.
One last thing, we have to get out to see Long Legs. Like
I was going to
yesterday.
say, I know
we
you
need to like make a date or something.
I'm down.
Yeah.
I've heard nothing. I've been staying away because I want the surprise of it, but I've heard nothing but great things.
I watched a
I'm
trailer.
down. Did you watch a trailer? I know
Yeah.
you said it didn't give away.
It didn't. I mean, until I see it, I might feel differently.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of like clips, but not a lot like. It would seem like something's about to come, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it did give a little away. I don't know, but I still really want to see it.
Yeah, let's make plans.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyways.
All right. Are you guys ready to get into The Haunting 1963?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So we like to kick it off with a section called Dig Up the Bones. And that's where I go over the movie we watched and give a brief summary. So The Haunting is a horror film adapted from Shirley Jackson's 1959 novel, The Haunting of Hill House, released August 21st, 1963 in the U.S. and January 9th, 1964 in the U.K. Directed by Robert Weiss, who also directed West Side Story and Sound of Music, which I think this was smack dab in between those two.
Yes, it was.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it was really crazy.
That is awesome. But, okay, so moving on. Screenplay was done by Nelson Gidding, who did the screenplay for Andromeda Strain.
Yes.
And then I Want to Live, ! Produced by Dennis Johnson, who also did Oliver, and then assistant directed The Atomic Man. Is that one of your sci-fi movies, perhaps?
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So there you go. Music by Humphrey Sorelli, who composed music on Action of the Tiger and Left, Right, and Center. Cinematography, Davis Bolton, who worked on It, 1965, no affiliation to the Stephen King.
Right.
But and then also Song of Norway. Special effects, Tom Howard. He did work on The Legend of Hell House, another haunted house movie.
It's another one of my favorites.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, yeah.
And then he also did work on 2001, A Space Odyssey, and then Where Eagles Dare.
Oh, all good movies. All of
Excellent.
them. Yeah.
Well, Steve's telling everyone to go watch these movies, so you people can start your own lists. Also, the production company was Argyle Enterprises.
Yep. So good
There
stuff.
he is.
Good stuff.
Steve is fact-checking me as I go.
Well, I have my own notes.
No, I
but
know you
mean,
do.
There's a lot,
I'm
lot
looking,
of stuff. So
I'm looking forward to our loose ends segment where we come with the fun facts because
Oh,
I
I
know
have
you're
a
just going to be
bunch, yeah.
encyclopedia.
Yep.
All right, so sequels, prequels. There was a remake in 1999 under the same title, directed by Jean Dupont, starring Liam Neeson, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Owen Wilson, and Lily Taylor. There was also an attempt in the early 90s by Stephen King, but it ended up getting shelved and came out as a miniseries titled Rose Red in 2002, but it bears only a light resemblance to the original, The Haunting.
I watched that one the past 2 weeks too.
Oh, yeah?
It's a 3 1-hour episodes. and that was it.
Yeah.
It's a little mini series. So
2002.
yeah.
Anybody notable in it?
Oh, who was the lady? I can't remember her name. Oh, Nancy Travis
Okay.
was the main character in it.
Okay, cool.
So
Budget, $1.4 million.
mm-hmm.
Box office, $1.02 million. So slight loss on it.
Slight.
And then Rotten Tomatoes rating, 87% on the tomato meter, 82% on the audience score. That is a solid score
Yep.
on Rotten Tomatoes. All right. Starring Julie Harris as Eleanor, who she was also in East of Eden in a TV series Knots Landing.
Yep.
Claire Bloom as Theodora. She was in Clash of the Titans and then The King's Speech. I believe she played Queen Elizabeth in The King's Speech.
Okay.
Richard Johnson as Dr. Markway, who also starred in The Boy in the Striped Pajamas and Fulci's Zombie.
Zombie, yes.
He was Dr. Menard,
Yep.
I believe. Yes. Great movie.
Yep.
Another Italian movie. There's an Italian zombie movie. So
yes, we won't mention the spoilers in that.
We
one.
won't. We won't.
It's a good movie though.
One of the best. All right. Finally, Russ Tamblyn as Luke, who was in West Side Story and then Dracula vs. Frankenstein.
Yep.
All right, The Haunting. After getting the lease on a historically tragic hill house, Dr. Markway calls together a ragtag team of his choosing to investigate the premise. With Luke, Theodora, and the entombed Eleanor in attendance, the screams and bumps in the night become increasingly undeniable. So, initial reactions to landing on The Haunting. Steve, you gave us your favorite horror film, so...
I mean, I've known about this movie for quite some time. I mean, I never watched it when it first came out, but in the early 70s, I was, watching all kinds of stuff, and it showed on TV, scared me to death, still scares me to death. I won't watch it before I go to bed at night.
Definitely a triggering movie.
That's not the
for you.
last one I watch before I hit the set.
Yeah.
So, no, this was a really well-made movie. And I'll add to the Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
There's two people that have given this movie big credo. Stephen King. It's his favorite horror book, and Martin Scorsese.
Oh, I think I did see that. Yeah.
Both of them has said this movie is it's part of the horror genre, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah.
It's there. It's ingrained. I mean, Stephen King
lexicon,
loved it so much that he tried to redo it, and they did it as Rose Red.
Exactly.
So he really enjoys the book, and we've listened to the book several times on trips, and I've read it a couple times way back in the day.
I found it on the audiobook. I found it on YouTube. It's on there. So people want to check it out. We shared it the other day on our Instagram page. So
cool.
Shelley, how'd you feel about initially landing on The Haunting?
It's my dad's favorite, and he had shown me this movie when I was very little, and it scared the crap out of me.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say it was still when we had a box square TV. I was laying on the floor watching it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
So I was interested to watch it again.
Okay.
And see.
So has it been since you were
Probably.
a little kid to now?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially, for me, this was a first viewing. I feel like I watched it before, but I watched a lot of like haunted house movies with my mom when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And nothing like stood out to me that I was like, oh, there's the part I remember. So I feel like this was an initial watch for me. So yeah, getting into it, I was excited because Steve, you were going to join us. I was super pumped. Always enjoy our fans coming on and doing episodes with us. So I was just ecstatic to chew it up with you. And now I'm finding out it's your favorite horror film. I'm super excited to get into all of our talking points.
Cool boy.
All right, next up is Feasting Fiends. And this, we discuss the topics of overall pros, overall cons of the movie, characters, dialogue, and favorite kills/scares. So, Steve, take it away with your pros.
All right. So one of the top pros for me is I love a good mind
You can swear.
movie, a mind fuck movie.
Yes.
We're rated R.
Yeah, we are.
So I love a movie that plays on your mind and makes your imagination kick in.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as major visual effects, there were none. Minimal. So, even with the movies like House on Haunted Hill, 13 Ghosts, those movies back in the day in the 50s used some sort of superimposed movie trick.
Like an overlay thing.
To put ghosts out there and stuff of that nature. They did none of that here. They didn't plan to use visual effects. Matter of fact, Robert Wise, when he because he's the one who found the script and wanted to do it anyways, he went to Shirley Jackson and said, "We don't want to show ghosts at all." And she loved that idea. So that's what they went with, and it worked. And it's really powerful when you sit there and watch this, and your mind is just going, "What am I watching?" But they did other things, like because it was filmed in Panavision, they used some weird movements of the cameras. Nell's face coming up to the lens of the camera real quick. They filmed a lot of her from above versus straight on, what they did with the other actors.
Yeah. And I know with the lens it was so Panavision made the lens, but it was slightly askewed.
Yes.
So then Robert Weiss had to like sign off that it was fine. He didn't care. So then like that added to just like the oddness of this house and those shots too. So that was super cool.
No right angles in any of the places.
Exactly. Yeah.
And he did that on purpose because the book actually talks about there are no right angles in the house. So the filming of it was just spectacular. When they find this once, we'll get to that one scene now. I won't go into that right now.
Yeah,
but,
we'll get there later.
I'll describe what they did with that.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely amazing when you think about it and go through all the stuff. And they throw in all the little funny things, him going into the broom closet by accident.
Yeah, there was some comedic elements in this too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree, yeah.
Richard Johnson, I had a chance to meet him before he passed away, and we chatted for like 20 minutes. They had him there had Spooky because of Zombie.
Yeah.
But I talked to him when I saw his picture sitting on the table from The Haunting.
Oh.
We went right into it. It's
That's
like,
great.
man, I love this movie. So Robert Wise did a really good job about not having the thing, have it done in black and white because it makes the audience, they can play with the light a lot and the contrasts and stuff.
Yes.
And it makes the audience uncomfortable. And that's what he was going for. And he did it very well.
Yeah.
Very well. So, plus the studio wouldn't give him money for special effects. So
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So you gotta make it work.
yeah. So that's what he did. He took what he did and he ran with it, and he did a spectacular job of it.
Yeah. Shelley, what do you got for pros?
Yeah, so Dad touched on a lot of them. I like how it's shot in the subnal nature of it. It really adds to the tension of the movie. I like the black and white choice.
Yes.
I do enjoy that because, it was the 60s. You could have shot it anyway at that point. But
yeah. And I love that he was just steadfast on it because I know Turner Classics or whatever, they tried to colorize it later, but he came back. It's like, it's in the contract.
Yes.
This is a black and white movie.
That was one of my notes.
So I still won.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. We're good.
But go ahead, Shelley.
The acting overall is pleasing. For the most part, they all hold their own, and no one really, I think, overpowers the other. And I like the sets. I mean, the set design of the inside rooms of each and how like different they were. Like the thought that went into each room, the staircases, the grand entry, the dining room, even like the kitschy living room they were like sitting in playing cards that first night.
Yeah.
The purple room.
Oh, the purple parlor? Is that
the
the purple
parlor?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mentioned that to my sister. I was like, I wonder if they like purposely put some colors in the script just because they were shooting in black and white, or if that was something they did back in the day. But I don't watch enough black. I should have.
Yeah.
My mom watches a lot of black and white. But yeah, so like the rooms and whatnot were really well set designed.
Yes.
And really added to the creepiness of the house. So those were my pros.
Yeah. I think we could all talk about the camera work till our faces turn blue.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm a huge Evil Dead fan, and I don't see Sam Raimi able to walk without this movie crawling. And all the work that they did with these, I guess they're called Dutch angles, is what I've heard it referred to.
Yes.
But all those exaggerated, crazy angles, and then just amazing camera work. Good vision by Robert Weiss, and then the execution by the cinematographer. Just perfect.
Yep.
And I think where this movie succeeded and our last movie, Lake Mungo, failed was that it was able to balance this supernatural and this psychological horror very well.
Yes.
Because this whole time when we're watching Nell go through this, we're questioning her sanity, but at the same time, we're getting these paranormal attacks on her. So where Lake Mungo, it felt like a tennis match back and forth, and I didn't know which theme I was watching. This was just like there were two themes going right next to one another the whole way through the movie, and I thought that balanced out really well, and it made for a really interesting story.
Yeah.
And then this movie also prompted me to go to Netflix and watch The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh yeah.
And
Have you not seen that?
I have not seen it.
Oh.
I
Wow. Yeah.
fell in love with it. Mike Flanagan right?
Yes.
Which he is hilarious. You have to follow him on TikTok.
Okay.
He's fucking hilarious.
I think you told me this before, actually.
He's so funny. And he's
But-
married to one of the actresses.
Oh, he is?
And they both are hilarious.
Yeah.
Yep.
But oh my gosh, what a great series. I know I'm late to the party on it, but I was instantly hooked, and I loved how they set up the episodes, and we got the backstory on each kid and like where they were. What a great series.
Did you read anything for that before you watched it?
No, I didn't. I just went in because I was like, oh, this is based off of the same source material,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna check it out.
I'll give you a little clue.
Yeah.
Watch it and look at stuff that you normally wouldn't look at in a movie.
Okay.
And you go, wow, 1, 2, 3, 1.
Well, it's funny because I told my wife, Carrie, I was like, we need to watch this. So I was like, this is kind of scary, but it's not like over the top. I was like, I think
Right.
you would enjoy this. You would get caught up in the story of this family. So I was like, we need to watch this. So when I go back and watch it with her, I'll be looking for things I shouldn't be looking for.
Well, you'll see them. They're there.
Yeah.
And it's when you see them, you go, oh.
Cool.
But, I mean, I really love the way it went through the story beautifully. Yeah, it's different than the original book, but even the characters, names, Nell, Theo, Hugh Crane, even the kid Stephen was named for Stephen King.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
they added those little tidbits into that, which was really nice. So
I like that.
I'm going to be honest.
Yes.
I watched Haunting in Hill House. I've never got through the second season. It's just not as good as the first season.
the Blair Manor.
Oh, I was going
Yeah.
to say, was
Bly
that the Bly
Manor.
Manor
Bly
one?
Manor.
Okay.
Bly
It's just
Manor.
not
I
as
just-
good.
I just
it
watched that
doesn't
one,
keep
yeah.
me bleh as much as the first one does. I watched first one twice now. I do like the first one.
Oh, it's so good.
But I was watching 1963 The Haunting
Uh-huh.
since I hadn't seen it in a long time.
Yeah.
And we had to do this podcast. And I'm watching, I was like, wow, there's a lot of similarities to the series. Haunted
Yeah.
Hill
Yeah.
House. My brain did not make the connection.
Oh.
I did not know they were all connected.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
same genre,
Oh,
same
yeah.
book, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I'm watching, I was like, I bet you they were inspired
Yeah.
by this 1963 movie. They got some inspiration. And then I was
Oh.
like, oh, no, they're like literally doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It's the same story.
Yeah.
It's the exact same story.
My
but,
bad.
I mean, there's differences, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, but yeah, it took me a minute.
The house is still after the same person, and
Yeah.
it's
Right,
so, it's,
yeah.
Yeah.
Did Flanagan? Did he do the Bly Manor one as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And they did a third one, but I haven't watched that series.
Okay,
I have
cool.
it. I have it somewhere, but it's The Fall of the House of Usher.
Oh, okay.
So it's based on
Yeah.
an Edgar Allan Poe story.
That's cool.
Bly Manor is based off The Turning of the Screw,
yeah.
which was the basis for The Innocents with Deborah Kerr.
That
which
was
is a really good spooky movie.
That was a
too.
fan submission last season, I think.
The Innocents?
Yeah.
Good. It's a good movie.
Yeah. I've heard listening to a lot of podcasts. A lot of people have mentioned The Innocents in the same breath as The Haunting.
Yeah. Oh, it's very good.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Nice. All right, let's move on into cons. Steve, do you even have any cons?
The only con I have is I could have watched more of the story. In my digging up for trivia, notes, things of that nature, I heard that there was a cut that they showed one time. I think it was in '64,
Okay.
or maybe even a few years later after that. The opening in the theatrical release was Nell in her sister's home
Yeah.
with her brother-in-law and their kid, and they're having this discussion about Nell taking the car to go on to a vacation or take a trip to Hill House. So that argument was there, but in the original cut, they wanted to do Theo arguing with her partner,
Yes. I heard about this.
and there was yelling and screaming and ill things going on between them before they left to go to Hill House. So when Theo shows up, it kind of explains, after I read the what they described it as, it kind of gave you a mindset of what Theo was thinking of when she got to the house and
Yeah.
started interacting with Nell.
Mm-hmm.
So I really loved that interaction. There were some And eventually it turned to tension because Markway kind of got more involved, and it was like, oh, okay, now I see what's going on here.
Yeah.
So, and they did all that on purpose. There was a lot of stuff that they did on purpose because of Robert Wise wanted to be forward, progressive with doing this movie, and he did a great job of those two characters working together and stuff like that. So
yeah.
But no, the only con is I could have watched more and more and more of this. I just would love to see more things stretched out a little bit. I would have loved to maybe have seen a ghost.
Some materialization of it.
But, yeah, but slightly. Not like they did with the 1999 version. They just went over the top on that. And when I sat in the theater, I was sitting there, I was pissed watching the movie. You got to be kidding me. No, that wasn't in the book.
Yeah. I mean, this is your golden goose, and here they're remaking it and poo-pooing all over it. Yeah.
So that really upset me. The Haunting of Hill House that Michael Flanagan did really helped.
Oh, good.
Stretch things out a little bit more.
Yeah.
They added some things to it, but it really explains some things that towards the end I'm going, oh, that makes sense. Yes, now it all comes to mind. So, yeah, nothing majorly bad, but yeah.
What about you, Shelley? What do you got for cons?
I actually said the same thing. I would have liked more backstory about Nell and her mom, and even the Cranes.
That's true. Yeah, we get the little exposition in the beginning, but I mean, that is such that could be a movie within itself, just the history of the Cranes.
Right. They're just like, let's morph her from a baby to
that was a great scene.
That was another special effect too.
That was great.
They had 3 actresses they had to do with that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, I could have used more story than a morphine thing though. Again, I said tell us more about Eleanor. I think as the audience, we got the connection between Eleanor and her mom and the Cranes with the cane and the imagery there. But like, not everyone can be like, oh yeah, like they have the same kind of like past history or whatever. So like, maybe just like be like, hey, this is the connection.
A little bit more upfront.
Tell us the connection. Like the doctor, I think obviously knew.
I think so too. I question his motives in his list. Yeah.
And then my last con is the sound mixing. I don't like it. I just don't like the sound in this movie. Watching it now, I'm like, it's not clear. It's not concise. It could be a little bit more powerful.
Is it the moments of like the poltergeist coming out?
Not the bangs, like the music.
Okay. There is that scene in the beginning when she's having a conversation with her sister and her niece is playing the record of just like circus music, and it's so odd.
That's why I kind of said mixing. I'm like, it's like whoever was listening to it and was like, this is great. Yeah, no, you probably could have turned it down or like turned it off.
I think in my history of watching things and when the antagonist comes in, of playing some kind of music that would irritate you. In the Dark Knight, there was always this noise with the music when the Joker was in play. In The Right Stuff, they used the sound of locusts when the press was trying to get their first interview with an astronaut or something of that nature.
Yeah.
But it's always something like that that really helps you feel uncomfortable. And when I watch The Dark Knight, I love that movie, but it's one of those that when that music hits, I'm like, oh, here comes the Joker. So you really get that kind of feel to it. And maybe that's what they were doing with some of the music.
I don't think so.
No? But I don't think.
I knew that was coming.
I just think it was poorly done.
For me, I very rarely even pay attention to the music in that movie. It doesn't even register with me. I mean, a little bit. There's some like dance type little steps when Nell's spinning around in the curtain and was like being flighty or whatever. They might do something there. I remember that, but nothing else during the big scenes and stuff of that nature. But
well, we do a movie podcast and we pick up on every aspect of the movies.
We go through with a fine-tooth comb.
The finest of combs.
Yep.
Fine-tooth comb.
Yep.
We ain't found shit.
All right, Derek, what about you?
So for me, just a little too long, and it took too long to get to that first scare. I think it was like 40 minutes until Nell had that first action with the house. I thought something could have happened before that, maybe to lead up to it, but just a little too long to get to that. And then the only other thing was Dr. Markway brought all these people together to conduct an experiment in his house, and there was zero experiment. It was just, hey, come hang out, and everything was just like situational. And I think this movie could have got something from having like a plan from the doctor instead of just record what happens.
Right.
So if he would have had like just some sort of like experiment set up, letting people know, hey, do this in this room and then record, or like some sort of plan, I think it would have helped out this movie for me with the pros. Go ahead.
Let me expound upon that just
Do
a little
it,
bit.
yeah.
So if you've watched The Legend of Hell House, the doctor that wanted to do his equipment thing was very meticulous about doing experiments.
Mm-hmm.
He'd have the psychic do and then put ectoplasm in a jar or something like that, and then Roddy McDowell being the physical medium doing something, and he's like, I'm not doing anything, you know. So but I understand where Markway was coming from, because he wanted to observe people that had psychic abilities to see what they would pick up on in the house, and the house delivered it to him.
Yeah.
But not only to the two, all of them, because Markway doesn't have any skills, any paranormal skills, and neither does Luke, except for making martinis.
Yeah, he's just the skeptic.
Yeah, he's the skeptic.
Yeah.
He's the one that might have his closed door ripped off at the hinges.
That's right. But I thought of that too, because I was like, all right, well, Nell is obviously this lightning rod for the house.
Oh, yeah.
And we have Theodora, which is the psychic. And I was like, they're all kind of playing their part, but for me, I would have liked to see like a plan of like some sort of some sort of thing hashed out. But
I agree.
All right, so let's move on into characters.
Steve,
take us away.
To me, you got, and I'll use them both, as Theo and Nell were the primary reasons why they were brought in. Theo was very much in tune with her power. She knows how it works, and she knows what to do in the event something happens. Right, and that's why Markway brought her in. Nell, on the other hand, has abilities that doesn't know about them. She has no capabilities of fighting anything. So it's like the analogy I use is bringing a knife to a gunfight. So there's no chance for her.
Yeah.
Technically, it was once you realize how naive she is, you know something's going to happen somewhere. So Markway was a good character. He was kind of iffy sometimes, but he was more in tune to the house than the people that were in the room with them. For example, him and Nell were having a very good conversation, and he was paying attention to the heart. Things of that nature. He was trying to impress people.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He walks into the broom closet instead. Oh,
yeah.
Here's the dining room. Blang.
Yeah. When I think of Markway, I think of mansplaining.
Yeah.
He just mansplained his way through this whole movie.
Exactly. And to me, the big character here is the house.
Oh, I agree. I had the house as a character too. Yeah, absolutely.
This was a place called Eddington Park in Eddington, Warwickshire, England. All right. And they filmed the outside shots of that hotel in infrared. So it gives it that eerie, very eerie look. Even during the brightness of day, because it was shot in infrared. And there's one scene where they're moving in on the house. You can see the glint of the sun hit the window. So, but it just makes things so creepy when they did it. So to me, that's a character. And the house itself was, I would say, the main thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was the most important character of this film.
Yeah. So eventually, when we get to England, that's one of the places I want to go to visit. Eddington Park.
It's a hotel.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can totally stay there.
Yeah, that's what
It's a very feasible
Sandy
thing.
and I at least want to do is go spend a night there and visit the place. And
that'd be awesome.
Get some shots from outside. It was so creepy.
Heck yeah.
Well, we visited the hotel at the Grand Canyon that Chevy Chase went into and stole money from the till. Yeah.
All right, Shelly, what about you? What do you have for characters?
Yeah, I had Theo.
Yeah.
She obviously, I
love
think she was
Theo.
a strong character.
Yes.
She played it well, very well done. I like Theo. She's my favorite, and I think the family beginning sucked.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
And that little girl can kick it.
Yeah, the sister was very controlling.
Whatever. controlling Nell like that.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
I hear you. I hear you.
Anyways, those are my least favorite.
What was she chanting at her? Annie Nell's blinking. She was just a rude little girl.
She was just rude.
Yes.
Yes. To have a little girl like that taunt an adult. Is like,
and even back in those times.
Back in those times, I'd have gotten smacked.
Yeah, I
And
can
have
imagine.
gotten smacked.
But for characters, I just want to I want to shout out the Dudleys. I think they were great little harbingers. I don't know what Mr. Dudley's accent was, but I know they were English actors. Rosalina Crutchley played Miss Dudley, and then Valentine Dayal played Mr. Dudley. And I know they're both English actors and actresses, but
I think he was working on his New England accent.
I was wondering if
Park the cars.
yes, but it's like you city folk. But Miss Dudley, I'll get into it later. But she had one of my favorite lines in the movie, and I just only other character that we haven't talked about yet was with Luke. I just felt a little indifferent to him just because he was a skeptic, and I got that. But then we got the skeptic again when Grace Markway showed up. So I was here's two characters that are basically serving the same purpose. I mean, she felt more important to the story than Luke did.
Yes.
So it was just Luke felt a little fat to me. So I was slightly indifferent. I loved Theodora was great. I thought Eleanor was great. I know some people were annoyed by her character, but I thought she built the tension up. She was like the powder keg that would blow up in these high tenseful moments. So she was totally purposeful, and I loved her too. So yeah, that's it on characters. Are you ready to move into dialogue, Steve?
Dialogue, yes.
All right, take us away.
There's two events, and it's actually in the book, it's the last piece of the book, and it's when Dr. Markway opens the segment, the movie with the house in silhouette, and he goes, "An evil old house, the kind some people call haunted, is like an undiscovered country waiting to be explored. Hill House had stood for 90 years and might stand for 90 more. Silence laid steadily against the wood and the stone of Hill House, and whatever walked there walked alone." And it's such, I get chills when I even read that part.
Yes.
What I liked about that line is they also repeated it at the end, but Eleanor did it.
Yeah, that's part of my final cut.
So the humorous one was when Theodora, Nell, and Dr. Markway were standing in the dining room chit-chatting, and they hear a noise. And Luke walks into the room, and Markway goes, "Ladies, it's taken 60 million years to develop the carnivorous biped you see before you, Luke Sanderson." And Theodora goes, "Let's see what kind of martini it makes." And Luke goes, "Well, they should be pretty good. I majored in them in college."
Very, very frat boy line. Yeah. That was definitely like Luke's role for sure.
Yeah. One line that Eleanor said that kind of was creepy is she goes, "Can't you feel it? It's alive, watching."
I like the delivery too, Steve.
Oh, thank you.
We'll put some spooky reverb on it.
I try very hard.
Ooh. Shelly, what about you? What do you have?
I have just one little exchange.
Wow.
Between I've been working all day. Derek gets it.
Yeah, I know.
He leaves as early as I do.
What a day.
Because we both work in Tampa. Just a little exchange, very simple, but I think very I don't know, it's got a lot of meaning behind it. Eleanor says, "What scares you, Theodora?" And Theodora says, "Knowing what I really want."
Yes.
That's very scary.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
And especially for Theodora's character in this movie. You talked about Robert Weiss wanting to be progressive with stuff, and it was very much it was borderline not even a subtext, but just a text of this movie that Theodora was into women.
Yes.
So, that question to her and her just saying being afraid of what I really want is just what a very layered couple little words, but very layered and meaningful. A lot of meat in that moment.
Yep.
Lots of it.
Tons of meat.
Like it.
Like
what about you? What about you, Dark?
So, my favorite line was from Miss Dudley, and this is when, Eleanor.
I fell in love with her.
I know, she was so great, but this is when Eleanor first came to the house, and she was just being ominous and creepy, but she said, "We can't hear you in the night, No one lives any nearer than town. No one comes any nearer than that. In the night. In the dark.
My favorite is that Eleanor or when Theo gets there,
Yes.
she's trying to do the same rundown.
I know.
And Theo's just talking over him, but she's like, in the night,
In the dark.
in the dark.
And well, Nell even jumps in and goes, "In the dark, right, Miss?"
Yeah, and she repeats it again. And then I think it was like the next morning when they're eating breakfast, and I think Eleanor was having an episode. Miss Dudley was just talking about breakfast is ready. I'm not staying any later than 10 a.m. Come get your breakfast. And they're all just getting annoyed. We're like, stop, Miss Dudley. Stop. So, Miss Dudley, you're the best.
Yep.
Let's move on into favorite kills, scares. What do you got, Steve?
Well, I wouldn't say kill per se. Yeah. We'll go into that other part later on. But there was little jump scares, nothing major. Yeah. The sound at the door, I think, was probably one of the first things I'd ever picked up when I first watched the movie, is when the noise was coming down the hall and then it stopped in front of the door and you heard something tapping on the walls and then bang, bang, bang on the door.
And then it gets aggressive. It builds up.
Yeah, and it's just terrifying when you first watch it. Mm-hmm. But I think the biggest jump scare is Mrs. Markway when she was popping out of the attic was definitely a whoa.
That was another moment. The music too, like the high horn or whatever instrument that was, and just like her coming out and the lighting with the black and white, like yes,
and they did it
like a horse,
and the right, and the light was like underneath, so it gave her that shadowy look and stuff. Yeah,
she looked dirty and sweaty. But
yes, well, she was.
She was hanging out in an attic. Crazy lady.
So yeah, those are the only couple big ones that I have.
Nice. Shelly, what do you got? Kills or scares?
So, kill/scares. Well, this part scared me when I was little.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to say it is still kind of scary. But when Eleanor is in the room and Theodora comes and stays with her.
Yeah.
And Eleanor starts looking at the wall. And at first, it just looks like wallpaper, but as you look closer, it looks like a face.
Yes.
It's very scary.
Yeah.
Very scary face. And then someone's holding Eleanor's hand, but then they realize that Eleanor's nowhere near Theo.
And for a little kid, I'm sure you were like me, where I would lay in my room and I would see faces.
Yeah.
And like I would make things in
that
my
was
mind.
scary. That was really scary to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very scary.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yes.
And then, Nell just like standing up and holding her hand, being like, whose hand was I holding? And like, it was so physical to the point where Nell was like, you're crushing my hand, Theo. Like, settle down. But clearly on the other side of the room.
Nowhere near her.
Nowhere near.
Yeah.
And you hear the voices and the wallpaper. Just scary.
I know.
Yeah.
That was scary.
No, it was good. I have a kill and scare. But so the kill was the opening shot. I think it was Mr. Crane's second wife. That's when I knew, like, I was into watching a movie that had really great camera work. And I just loved everything about it. Her standing at the top of the stairs, the angle just showing the bottom of the stairs from where, and her falling back. And as she's tumbling, the camera is also tumbling.
Yes.
And you see her grab for the railing. It's such an action-packed scene. And then the final shot, the camera comes down. It's upside down, so you're getting her POV. And then it's a shot of second Miss Crane, whatever her first name was. Her face is just lit up, and it's just dead eyes, and it looks crazy.
She's laying on her back.
Yeah, she's laying on her back upside down.
Yeah, it's wow. Yeah.
What a great way to kick this movie off. And even, I talked about like the first scare took so ever to get to, but that first kill for me, I was like, it was a great jump off point. So
I think that was when I first watched the movie, that whole first sequence was what caught my eye.
Yeah.
I was watching the Nell thing in her sister's home and stuff, and I was like, but when they talked about that, the history of it, it was like, that caught my attention. I had to watch more at that point. So
yeah. And then I think we would be sad if we didn't talk about the final scare with the bulging of the door.
Oh yeah.
And everybody was in the room, so there was no more, this is just happening to Theo and Nell. Luke is in there, Dr. Markway's in there, and the door's bulging out on them, and I hear it banging upstairs going to the nursery where Grace is, and it was a great final like cap off to this haunted house movie.
Yeah.
Just like the physical reality of something outside the door so strong that it could bow this door. So I love that.
It also brought a great line from Luke too.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
that's right.
Mr. Markway, I'll let you have it cheap.
Luke, what a card.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on into Final Cut. And this is where I reveal the shocking ending of the film, and we discuss and give our ratings of 1 to 5 stabs. 1 stab, no redeeming value. 2 stabs, bad. 3 stabs, mediocre. 4 stabs, good. 5 stabs, masterpiece. So, Grace Markway, Dr. Markway's wife, arrives at Hill House and on Nell's suggestion insists on staying in a newly opened nursery room, despite the doctor's pleas and Nell backing out of her suggestion. Dr. Markway instructs Nell and Theo they are to stay downstairs in the parlor while him and Luke conduct watches on the upper floor. That night, Luke comes to the parlor while everyone is sleeping to sneak a drink. The door suddenly slams shut, waking Theo, Dr. Markway, and Nell. Suddenly, they hear thunderous bangs and the door starts bulging in on them before the banging travels to the second floor toward the nursery. Dr. Markway attempts to leave and get to Grace, but Luke stops him. Nell then rushes out another door in an attempt to offer herself to the house in place of Grace. She stumbles her way to the nursery and finds it empty. Everyone else shows up to discuss the next plan of action, but Nell wanders off and starts dancing with the Hugh Crane statue and then finds herself in the library with the spiral staircase. She starts ascending the stairs in a weird trance while it sways back and forth. Dr. Markway, Theo, and Luke arrive and implore her to stop. She rebukes their request, so the doctor goes after her. She makes it safely to the top, and so does Markway, surprisingly. Markway grabs her, breaking her from the trance, and as they're about to climb back down, Grace face appears from her trapdoor and frightens Nell. After telling the crew that she is convinced she found Grace, they all insist that Nell needs to leave as quickly as possible, seeing the effect the house has on her. She argues with them that she has no place to go and that the house belongs to her, but majority wins, so she needs to skedaddle. Before Luke can get in the car, she drives off. While driving down the winding driveway, an unseen force seems to battle Nell for the steering wheel. She soon relinquishes control, and we see Grace dart across the road as a car swerves into a tree. Luke, Theo, and Dr. Markway show up just as Grace comes out from behind the tree. She explains what happened, and Theo blames her for Nell's death. Dr. Markway divulges that the same tree that killed the original Miss Crane just so happens to be the tree that Nell crashed into. He theorizes there was something in the car with Nell from Hill House that claimed her soul for the house. We get a voiceover from Nell stating, "Hill House has stood for 90 years and might stand for 90 more. Within, walls continued upright, bricks met, floors are firm, and doors are sensibly shut. Silence lies steadily against the wood and stone of Hill House, and we who walk here walk alone." The end. How'd you guys feel about the ending, Steve?
I love the ending. I mean, that was really the culmination of Nell's downfall, I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, she was coming into a battle with no weapons.
Mm-hmm.
She was ill-prepared to encounter anything that this house was throwing at her. And when they did throw stuff at her, she thought it was something good. Something was happening in her life that was other than taking care of her mother. And that was all she cared about. And that was her downfall. And then when the spirits didn't want her to leave, they took care of the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
They allowed her to stay at Hill House for the rest of her life, for the rest of eternity. You know, it's like...
She's now part of the house.
Yeah, she is. She's part of the house. And I love that they switched just a few words, like, you know, bricks stand steady, things like that. Those aren't in the first statement that Markway did, but then I love it when she said, "And we walk alone."
I know.
It was just, good stuff.
Yeah, fantastic ending. What about you, Shelley? How'd you feel?
Yeah, I thought it wrapped it up as much as you could, I think. I don't know how much it connects to the second one, but it did end the story. I mean, I would have liked to maybe seen, like, where the rest of them went after she crashed the car, because it was just kind of like, she's dead.
Yeah, she's the reason we're here. We don't need to know anything else after she's a
like
part
we
of the
can
house.
leave.
Yeah. All right, we're done.
Don't worry about the dead person in the car.
Yeah.
So, but other than that,
No, I think, it was, like you said, a culmination of what everything that was setting up. It was bound to happen, and it happened. You know, Nell's need for something to happen, like she kept saying, she just wanted something to happen. She lived this repressed life, you know, just taking care of her mother, and she finally got this chance to go like live a life, and unfortunately it took her life. So yeah, I thought it was a great ending. I was happy with it. No notes for the ending. No notes.
The other little piece, though, that I noticed with that is when Grace came out from behind a tree, I think at that point, her eyes were open to what this house is.
Oh, yes.
Because she was super skeptic. Luke was a skeptic, but she was super skeptic. She's like, I'm going to stay in the nursery.
Exactly.
And Markway's like, no, that's the heart of Hill House. You can't open that. You can't open that wound yet.
Yeah.
You know, so... and then the door was open. It's like, oh, okay.
I know. And this door, this room, they haven't been able to access. They're finally able to access it for obviously nefarious reasons from the house. It's just setting traps.
Little things like that all culminated at the end. No one was a skeptic anymore after Nell passed away. So
perfect. All right, so I'm gonna ask you, Steve, give us your stabs.
L5 stabos. Yeah. I thought this was a masterpiece to have a piece done by Robert Wise. The talent that they brought in to do it was phenomenal. I mean, the top 5 actors had been heard of and had been working regularly up to this movie. I mean, like you said, East of Eden was Julie Harris's big piece to bring all that talent in, and they did a really good job of it. And the fact that it was black and white, and they stayed black and white. And they made sure it stayed black and white by putting it in the contract with them.
Yeah,
that everything would maintain over the years, and it still stands today. So for me, it's a 5, big time. So,
Shelley, what about you? Stab it in front of your father.
So when I saw this when I was little, I thought it was really scary. It did not stand the test of time for me. It's good filmmaking. I'll give it a lot of props. It needs a little bit more scare in my eyes to be like what I enjoy in horror sometimes.
Yeah.
I need a little bit more depth in the story. But it's a solid movie. Like I said, I love a lot of the choices, the cinematography, the sets. The acting overall was really good. So I'm giving it a very solid 3.8.
3.8?
No, it could be a 4. It could be a 4, but.
Awesome.
Cool.
For me, the first time I watched it, I was a little meh about it, but as I continued watching it, as I do all these films, I was just catching more stuff like about the character interrelationships. And I always try to watch like these older films within the context of the time they were put out. So I give them a little grace with like the scariness stuff. But each time I watched it, I caught like more stuff and I got more interested in the story of it. Like I said in the beginning, just a little too slow. So I landed on a 4 stabs.
Nice.
Not bad.
Thanks, Steve.
Cool.
So next segment is Shelley's favorite segment, Voices from Beyond. And this is where Shelley gets to talk about what you guys talked about
yeah,
this
I
movie.
finally get no.
Really?
I finally get to
all
talk
this
next.
mansplaining going on here.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Let him have his fun.
Yes,
No, I'm
please.
just kidding. Thank you as always for the ones who left us comments. So first we have Jeremy W. OMG, classic horror movie. Loved it.
He always starts off with OMG.
OMG. Nobody, whether he hates it or loves it.
Yeah, I know. It's always the same.
Loved it so simple. The banging on the door or the door expanded like it was breathing. The look of horror on their faces was epic. Another good pick from the Wheel of Death. I'd give it 4 stabby stabs.
Good.
Awesome.
Scott F. said, the scariest thing about this movie isn't what you see, but what you hear. The sounds in this film force your mind to fear the worst. Brilliantly done. Brian M. said, the opening is probably the best part of the movie. It does a great job of setting the tone, particularly the shots of the spinning wheel of the carriage and the nurse's feet popping into frame after hanging herself. I'm sure this was scarier when it came out, so I tried to keep that in mind when watching. The cast was fine, but Eleanor was annoying AF.
There we go.
I can appreciate that. Most of the scariness is subtle, but I did find myself zoning out once or twice. But again, I can probably blame that on Eleanor. I'm curious how it holds up for people that saw it back in the day. Pretty decent overall, so I'll give it 3.75 stabs.
Oh, okay.
And then he said on a side note, this was a pain in the ass to find on Tubi. If
Yeah,
you search
fair.
Haunting, it doesn't show up right away. Oh, I didn't have that problem. Sorry, buddy.
There's a ton of different haunting movies on Tubi.
There's a lot.
So many.
And if you don't know the cover, like
Yes.
I can see that being confusing, but I knew as soon as I saw it pop up, I was like, oh, there it is.
For,
Yeah, exactly.
for me, it shows up when I didn't even ask for it.
Well, that's because you have it
just
like
knows.
saved. I think you own it.
Yeah.
I do.
So there you go.
Oh, good.
That's all
Is
I
that it?
had.
All
Well, Ray put a comment that he almost watched the 1999, but he never followed up with an
he didn't
actual
follow
review
up.
for the 63.
So thanks for letting us know, Ray, that
Yeah,
you almost
glad you
made it.
didn't
Wow.
watch the
Yes.
wrong one, Ray M.
Can't imagine him talking about the tornado and we're sitting there going, what?
Doesn't Owen Wilson lose his head in a fireplace or something?
It's all
You're not
very,
depressed. You just don't say wow like Owen Wilson does.
Wow.
Wow.
We all do it pretty well. Good for us.
Yeah.
Good for us.
Wow.
All right. So next up is Steve's favorite segment. We did Shelley's. Now we're doing Steve's Loose Ends. And this is a catch-all segment. If you have anything that didn't fit any other stuff or you got any fun facts, Steve.
This is more of a fun fact. It falls into the special effects area. So the lighting we talked about, the camera angles, the Panavision, playing on the fact that when a character comes too close to the camera, it gives you that fisheye look to it, and that
Yes.
kind of makes you uncomfortable. They did a couple other little things. One was Abigail laying in bed, merging from the young lady
Yeah.
into the older 80-plus lady, still with ponytails in
Yeah,
her
still
hair.
with- yeah.
So the one scene, and we didn't even touch on that scene, the cold spot.
Was that in front of the nursery?
It
the
was
cold
right
spot?
in front of the
That's
nursery.
What I thought.
So
Okay.
Markway calls out to everybody to come here. I found something. And they all run down the hall, and they're standing around. Now, what they did was they tried to give it a more coldness to the shot.
Mm-hmm.
So they put the people in makeup that under normal lighting conditions, they looked normal. But when they got to that cold spot, they changed the filters on the light
Oh.
that didn't change the scene, but it changed the makeup on their faces.
reflection,
and they
yeah.
made them look extremely pale.
I'll have to watch that again. I missed that.
It's very subtle.
Cool.
But that was a couple of things that they did is use lighting filters to make the change, because black and white, and I used to do a lot of black and white shooting back in the mid-'70s, like a red filter would really enhance contrast between the black and the white. Using other color filters, you're filtering out different lights and stuff to make that black and white shot better or different or whatever. So that was one of the techniques that they used, is use different filters. So you put a blue filter in, the yellow light goes away. You put a yellow light filter in, the blue light goes away. Things like that is what they did to help set the tone. I would have loved to have seen the Purple Room myself. How purple was it? But yeah.
I got a fun fact here. A decidedly mixed to negative review from Shirley Jackson. She was the author of the source material, but after seeing the picture at a preview screening, she told her parents that it is actually a very poor movie. The plot of the book changed radically and far too much talk. Although she admitted that the film contained some frightening scenes and had praised the art direction and the cinematography, after a second viewing a few weeks later, she told her friend that she and her son Barry nearly went to sleep, and that the scariest part of the day was that she had gotten a parking ticket while inside the theater. So Shirley Jackson throwing some shade.
Well, any writer tends to not like the screen cuts, because the books tend to add a lot of color that you don't see added to a script or things of that nature. And you can't have a movie like that without people talking somewhat. But because Robert Wise wanted to go without the ghost being viewed, I get that. And the book doesn't describe any ghosts that I'm aware of. They talk about the sounds. They talk about the noises that they see and hear. And in the series, The Haunting of Hill House by Michael Flanagan, they pick up on some of those clues from the book and really expound upon the story. Now, they added a lot more.
Yeah.
Which was one of the things I really liked about it. I would have loved to have seen what Shirley Jackson thought of that series versus what they did with the movie.
No, for sure.
I think if she had saw the remake 1999,
Yeah.
she would have crapped a brick. But there's I'm not sure what where it's at. There's a documentary about her, kind of a movie documentary.
Yeah.
It's called Shirley, and there was an actress that played Shirley Jackson, and Shirley was not a mentally well person. So she went through a whole bunch of stuff in the early 60s, mid 60s, late 60s and stuff. And I think, when you're dealing with those kind of demons, watching a movie like The Haunting is,
Yeah, there could be.
So if you really want to read one of her really top picks, there was a short story she did called The Lottery. Read it.
Okay.
It only takes maybe 10, 15 minutes to read.
Sounds like my type of reading.
You'll sit there and just go, holy cow.
Yeah.
I mean, she was just like, it's
Super crazy.
Yeah.
I bet. Another fun fact I have. Well, this isn't a fun fact. So there was a line that Luke said to Theo and Nell. He just called them Miss ESP and Birdie Murphy. So I had to look up the reference of what the hell is Birdie Murphy. And apparently Birdie Murphy was a purported 19th century Irish woman who Virginia Teague claimed to be in a past life after she was put under hypnotic regression. The story created a sensation. They even wrote like a best-selling book about it. And only after they wrote the book did they do research and start investigating her claims. And they were shown to be unfounded. They went over to Ireland, went to the city, they couldn't find any information that would correlate to her story. So it was theorized that Virginia suffered from cryptomania, which I had to look up what that is. And I may be saying that wrong.
You're going down a rabbit hole now. You know that.
I am. But it is when a forgotten memory returns without being recognized as such by the subject. So they believe it to be something new and something original. So stuff that happened in her past showed to correlate with what she said happened in her past life as this Birdie character. But yeah, it was just interesting because I was like, what the hell is that reference? And you watch these movies that are clearly before my time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just fun to dig on those funny little things and see
what-
the stuff that
what
was
is he
sweeping the
talking about?
nation.
Yeah.
Sweeping the nation back in the 1960s and 50s.
Yeah.
So that's my last fun fact. Did you have any more you want to throw at Steve?
No, I don't. I mean, like I said, I found out one website. We'd be here all night.
Oh, I bet we would. We'll do a part 2.
No.
No.
I'd like to go
All
home
right.
now.
So let's move on into Wheel of Death. And this is where we have to replace the haunting on our wheel. And Steve, would you like to reach your hand to be our guest and replace the haunting? And I'll pull up my wheel. So many choices and folded nice little pieces of
Making
paper.
sure I'm clearing all the crevices so that I get them
get them-
all in the mix.
That's right. They're all in the mix.
Okay, I got one.
And Steve has pulled a movie. He's unfolding the origami. And we have
It's a Derek selection.
Derek's selection.
Saint Maud.
Oh, yes.
A hospice nurse becomes obsessed with saving her dying patient's soul.
Yes.
It's
It's
a
an
20
A24 movie.
2020 movie.
It's awesome. I'm excited that it's on the wheel now.
Saint Maud. There you go.
All right, so St. Maud, adding it to the wheel.
All right.
Ready for me to read these
What
movies?
10 movies are on the wheel?
All right, so the 10 movies we have on the wheel are The Exorcist Believer, St. Maud, Sleepaway Camp, The Wailing, Frozen, The Babadook, Children of the Corn, The Shining, Event Horizon, and Dead Snow. So there's our 10 movies.
All right.
You ready?
All right.
Ready.
Okay.
Bring it, bring it, bring it.
Wheel
Of death. Wheel of death. Wheel of death. Wheel of death.
And we have a Shelley pick.
What? So
Sleepaway Camp.
this recently got pulled.
Heck yeah. So Shelley is looking up where you guys can watch Sleepaway Camp, and we will let you know.
You know,
It's
those.
on Tubi.
Perfect.
And it also is on Peacock if you have that. And you
Oh,
can
nice.
rent it and buy it on most platforms, it looks like. It might be on Prime. It looks like it's on Plex, Pluto. Like it's on
Yeah.
all
It's
the free
Plex.
ones.
Great.
So
Perfect.
watch Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come on, people. Let's have some fun and watch Sleepaway Camp. So our next episode drops July 31st. Don't miss out and tune in to the end of the season where we'll be taking all the movies we watch and have them battle it out in our end of the season deathmatch tournament. If you listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please hit the follow button and give us a rating and review if you like what we do. You can find us on Facebook and TikTok by searching Little Bracket of Horrors and on Instagram by typing at Little Bracket of Horrors. We also have merch available at tpublic.com. Just search for our name in their website search bar or pay attention to the socials for a direct link. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I'm Derek.
I'm Shelly.
I'm Steve.
And we will catch you on the other side. Good job, Shelly.
Thanks, Derek.
Bye. And we are recording. Everyone sounds good.
Good. Excellent.
Steve, you sound good.
I brought notes if that's okay.
That's good. Yeah, at the beginning of this season, when I think we were getting Erica on, Shelly was like, why don't we type up a template for guests?
That's a
Yeah, I feel like we had like an outline, but it wasn't really like a template.
Yeah, it was like, I think it was like our first meeting notes
Yeah.
that we just sent up, but this was more
But we weren't
organized.
really having too many guests the
No.
first or second season. Second season more than the first.
Yeah.
We started
We opened
bringing
it
some
up.
other people
Yeah.
on. So then even then,
So-
Erica's were very specific to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So we updated just to
Yeah.
Derek.
because
I say we. I did none of it.
It was
So
it was
if
at
I'm
a
a silent
suggestion.
partner.
It was at a suggestion.
I made the
of you,
suggestion.
though.
That was it.
And I was like, that's a good idea. Let's do that.
if I back up enough, I'm not because
Go ahead.
I noticed that when I'm talking this close, you
Well,
hear.
You
Oh,
want you
but
want
if you stay close, it drops
Yeah.
out during the editing.
and when I go to
Oh,
edit,
okay.
if you're quipping, I change all the
Quip.
stuff there.
Quiffing.
Quipping,
Quipping.
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 Are you able to quiff? Is that how it's pronounced
Oh,
too?
No.
no, that's not how it's pronounced. We do not discuss those things with my father.
Fair enough. Oh, is this water mine?
Yeah, that's yours.
Glorious.
Because you always want one.
I do. I
And
like
then
the
you down
water.
it. How's your sweating issue been lately?
Good. Do I look sweaty now?
No, not too. Well, maybe
Yeah.
a little moist.
We went to
Don't use that word.
my brother's gig, and $2 was the bar.
Yeah.
It was hot. It was ridiculous.
Oh, Matt's opening Swalway with
Yeah.
ultimate vinyl.
Ultra vinyl?
Ultra vinyl, yeah.
Ultra vinyl.
Ultra
Carrie was
vinyl.
shocked not to see you and Mom there.
Ooh.
Well, we had company over at the house for
Nice.
Saturday night, so
Oh, they have a social life.
we were making
Good.
tiki drinks.
Much more than mine. Mine is going to my brother's shows and then coming to a podcast recording.
Oh, look, that's in my memories.
Oh, that's nice. That's a good
little,
picture.
That's a little Ian. I'm like,
Oh.
I'm in the picture. I was like, why am I tagged in your memories? Because I went to Epcot with you guys.
Yep.
Yep. Oh,
Good
I saw
times.
that picture.
What's new?
Yeah.
That's the one with Darth Vader.
I
Oh,
mean, but like,
look at that.
he's so big now.
I know, I can't stand it.
Ian.
I scream at him every day.
We're like, stop fucking
growing! What are you doing? You're ruining everything.
Aw. Anyways,
That was
as
good.
we reminisce through my Facebook memories.
By the way, don't get freaked out if you hear like a little buzz in your headphones. It never picks up on the recording. It's just these crappy headphones. So if you hear something, you're like, oh no, don't sweat it.
You know, the thing is, these are like,
I hear a
$40
slight
bucks?
one.
Yeah.
They're not, but they are cheap for the
The-
type of
Compared
headphones
to,
they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're still $40. We hear the crack every time we're like, what's
I
that
know.
noise?
I know.
Oh, let me turn off the fan.
Oh, for the oven? Is that what that is?
No, it's the fan.
No,
fan.
the fan.
Oh, okay. Well, do you have one of those? Oh. What's up, Steve?
I hear the buzz, but
Yeah,
never-
see, that's what I
I
mean.
don't hear it in the broadcast. but-
Yeah, exactly. So it picks up every once in a while, and we're like, "Oh shit, what's that?" But it never records. So I think it's just in the headphones. Steve, would you like to do our tag, or Shelly? It's your house.
Yeah, I mean, we usually welcome guests to say our opening tag.
And what is your opening tag?
It should be on there.
Did you not write it here?
It might not be. It says, "Welcome to Little Bracket of Horrors, the pod that puts a fight in fright." Did we not put it?
No, but that's something you could do.
That'll be added on. That's a good note.
So it's welcome to Little Bracket of Horrors, the pod that puts the fight in fright.
Welcome to Little Bracket of Horrors, the pod that brings the fright to life. No, I said it wrong, didn't I?
No, go again.
Yeah. Welcome to Little Bracket of Horrors, the pod that puts the fight in fright.
Shelly, what do you got? Kills or scares?
So this part scared me when I was little, so I'm just going to use it.
Yeah.
Sorry, my eyes are wandering. I'm tired.
We're almost there.
I'm so tired. I remember one time we were like, no more weekdays.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, and then we like ramble and talk mindless.
That was first season
nonsensical
discussion. Yeah.
Shit. Anyways,